Welcome back to Tantrum Toys, and we are going to do a two-part episode on robots, or more specifically, transforming robots. We're talking about GoBots, Transformers, and other ones you probably have never even heard of. M.A.S.K, and even Bandai made its own version of Transformers. So now, which I wanted to focus on was actually GoBots, but we got a couple more we got to weed out, so sorry about that. So we have this, which we'll talk about in a minute. This is another unique thing. I've never seen actually one of these. I've seen them online, rarely, and it actually I had to do some research on that guy. I didn't know what that was. We'll get back to him in a second. So let's go back to GoBots. We got Spacey. By the way, so GoBots was made from 1983 to 1987 by Tonka, believe it or not. Hasbro bought them in 91 and released a GoBot Transformer line that did okay. They made some kids toys recently that are like really big and bulky. I've had a couple. I'm not a fan, but it's a kid's toy. It's meant so they can chew on it or throw it around, and they're pretty heavy though. I mean, I wouldn't want to throw them around, but anyway, so the original toys like Transformers, these were Tonka was trying to compete with Transformers, because when Transformers hit the market in '84, it was just a big craze, so everybody's trying to jump on board. So here comes Tonka with their version, but they licensed it from Bandai, and we all know who Bandai is. They actually make Power Rangers, or at least that's what they're known for. They're just another toy company that just bought into another toy line or storyline or whatever you want to call it. So they made GoBots had a really long run. They went from comic books to cartoons on TV, cartoon movies. They even did a video game, which I've never actually seen. What's interesting thing about the Transformer craze is that there's a lot of toy companies that jumped on board to make their versions, or they were paid to make their designs. So this one, I believe, is a M.A.S.K. It's not actually a GoBot. But it's still, as you can see, this is an actual Tonka GoBot right there. And I think that's a M.A.S.K, but I gotta look him up. I couldn't really actually find this guy. He's not popping up anywhere. Metal, very little plastic on him. That's how they used to make these old ones. This one is actually a GoBot, but it's made by Bandai. It's actually stamped on there, 84 Bandai. So, but it's the same scale. It's the same toy line. Here's another one. This one's really cool. This one's actually Tonka. Oh no, wait, actually this one is Bandai. I'll be darned. So that's another rare one, the Battleship guy. I've seen him once or twice before, not very often. Then they started doing creatures. They started doing what they call rock lords, where they turned into actual rocks, which I don't actually have one in this find, but that's okay. And then we got this guy. He is called Pincher. He turns into like a little space alien ship. That's an actual GoBot. GoBots they just did a lot of variations on their stuff. These are these big guys, which is this one, and here's one actually as a car. And we'll move this guy out of the way too. Let's start like weeding these down, so because there's a lot of stuff here to see. I'm not going to transform them all either. So you got the Super GoBots, which are these guys. They're about 5-6 inches. There's a few of these. There's like 6 or 7 of them. This is I think Herr Fiend. That's German. Of course, he's a Porsche. Why not? He's actually missing the hatch on the back of him. They made a Nissan that had the Thunderbird logo on it. It was red, which was odd, but it was really cool. This one is actually my favorite, Future Machine. It's Psycho. They also made a tank. They made a truck. They actually made a truck with a trailer, and you could actually load these guys up on the trailer. He was supposed to be the Optimus Prime of the GoBot world. So they started making these to compete with the bigger Transformers that were coming out. This guy, I don't believe this guy actually had weapons. I think some of these Super GoBots actually came with handguns and stuff too. But their names were simple. Like you had Leader 1, he was the leader of the GoBots. It was basically the GoBots versus the bad guys, which were the Renegades. and it was to save humanity. And actually, the bad guy leader was Psykill. That's this guy right here. He turns into an actual motorcycle. But this guy's pretty interesting. It's actually one of those dancing figurines. They made these with like Disney toys. There was like a Pluto and a Mickey Mouse, and all the parts are connected with actually a string, and it's a tension thing. So when you push the lever or button, he just kind of goes limp and he pops up. I guess that's to simulate he's transforming. I don't know, or he's dancing, or you can fight him. Kind of interesting. I've never seen one of these ever, but it's actually got the GoBots logo on it. It's got his name on it. Let's see who made this one for fun. It is, yeah, that's Tonka right there. So, pretty cool, pretty unique. This is actually my favorite. This guy I'm keeping. The rest, I don't know, we'll see what happens with those. But this one, I had this when I was a kid. This one was awesome. And we'll transform them just real quick. GoBots were not as complicated as Transformers in a sense. Not that the G1 Transformers were real complicated to begin with anyway. They're not as complicated as some of these movie ones, like the Ironhide from the second movie, Revenge of the Fallen. That one was tricky. I actually got one to see what it was like, and it was kind of hard to transform. I finally figured it out, but I like to do it without the directions. It's more fun. So there it is, the Future Machine, Hair Fiend. These guys had a problem with parts inside here, the hinges breaking. So a lot of times the top of the body would not stay connected to the rest of them. Looks like he's got his feet and everything too. I'm a big fan of the Super GoBots, just because they're bigger, they're bulkier. I mean, they do have their weaknesses, but they don't break as these smaller ones. And you can tighten the joints if they get kind of bad too. But they all, for the most part, transform the same way, in a sense. There's actually a VW Bug that's yellow that looks like Bumblebee in that toy line, which was kind of cool. I don't have that one anymore, but I used to have it. Anyway, so there's those guys. We'll put those guys aside. This, not a GoBot. Sorry I waited on that. This is actually from M.A.S.K, from Kenner. It's T-Bob, and we're going to do an actual episode of M.A.S.K. They were transforming vehicles. They weren't exactly robots. This is like the only transforming robot they had. It was a character. So then we have Mysterions. Mysterions came, there was a small toy line of them. They were in shapes. They transformed into robots, but they also had hidden compartments with other robots inside them. Kind of an odd toy line, and that's all they did with them. You want to say these are probably a knockoff toy line actually, but I don't see them very often. They're pretty cool. I will go ahead and put a photo up on the website so you can check them out. So that's basically what it does, and there's like a hidden compartment where a little robot pops out. So that's what Mysterions made by M.A.S.K Incorporated, and I can't find anything else they've made. I'm sure they've made other stuff too. I guess that's why Mysterions, you got the M on his chest. But they just made shapes. It's just odd, but kind of unique. I don't see these. These are pretty rare too. And then we'll go back to the final guy in a lot, which was, this is actually a GoBot too, and it's motorized if I can get it to do it. There it is. And when you put the lever, it pops up. Or when you do the lever, it's supposed to be motorized at one point. I don't know if it still works. Probably not. Oh wait, it's on this side. So yeah. Anyway, so GoBots made these real big, bulky toys. So you can see it's got Tonka on it. This is another GoBot. They made some very bizarre stuff. They made actually life-size, like little rifles and space guns and stuff like that too.